Doing something a little bit different today. So, what we normally do is we talk about mental health on this channel, but today we're going to talk about some not so local news, but just some small news that's happening around in the US of A. If you're new, welcome to my channel. I'm Little Shirley. I'll be your host this afternoon. Okay? So, what we're talking about essentially is this woman who had brought her dog in to be euthanized because, excuse me, because she thought there was no other medical recourse in treating him for what she thought was a neurological disease. And what happened was this dog was not euthanized and is now up for adoption again, and she is not able to take this dog home with her. So we're going to go ahead and read about it, and you can give me your opinions in the chat. Okay? Go ahead and make sure that everything is functioning properly. There we go. All right, perfect. So, here we go. So the woman in question, let's see, used to live in Maryland, but now she is living in San Antonio, Texas. But this all started happening in 2022 when she adopted this dog. So we're going to go ahead and read from the Associated Press article on this because it seems to have the most information out of the three that I've read. It's titled, "A Woman Took Her Dog to a Shelter to be Euthanized. A year later, the dog is up for adoption." This woman's name is Kristie, and she had adopted the dog in 2022. So the article reads, exhausted and short on options after consulting two veterinary clinics, Kristie Prairie made the gut-wrenching decision last year to take her desperately ill puppy to a Maryland shelter to be euthanized. So she was stunned last week to find the dog up for adoption at the same pet rescue organization where she had gotten it. Quote, "I have a lot of questions, but first and foremost, I want him back with me," Prairie told the Associated Press on Friday. She now lives in San Antonio and said she was working from home in Maryland when she paid $450 in late 2022 to adopt a 2-month-old hound mix from a local group called Lost and Dog Cat Rescue Foundation. She named the puppy Beau, and the two quickly became inseparable. Beau snuggled next to her as she worked, slept in her bed, and even tagged along with her when Perea would leave home. But within weeks, it became clear something was wrong with the puppy, she said. A veterinarian concluded that the issue is most likely neurological. Blood tests did show the dog might have a liver problem, so Perea was sent home with liver enzymes and told that she would, quote, see improvement pretty fast if Beau's liver was the issue. The dog's condition only worsened. The dog's veterinarian, the clinic's lead veterinarian, and an animal emergency room veterinarian all agreed the dog's inability to control his bowels and lift his hind legs pointed to a severe neurological problem, Perea said. The cost to run a series of tests to find out, she said, was quoted as high as $12,000. Despite the sticker shock, Perea, 32, who works in digital marketing, said she would have found a way to pay for it if it would save Beau. Instead, she was told, quote, there's a very slim chance of finding what's wrong, she recalled, and, quote, even if we do, there's an even smaller chance of it being something that we can fix. That is when they began suggesting that it might be more humane to euthanize the puppy. She wasn't ready to consider that option, she said, and held out for another month. Throughout all of it, Perea said she was consulting the staff at the Lost and Dog Cat Rescue. She said, honestly, after talking to them, it was really what I felt, that I was going to be doing the right thing by putting him down, Perea said. They really gave me that support and that encouragement that, although it's hard, sometimes that's the best thing to do, she says. Following several sleepless nights with Beau, clearly in pain, Perea said she took Beau to Montgomery Animal County Services in Durwood, Maryland in late March 2023 and paid $15 for him to be euthanized. She was told that the shelter's policy does not allow people to stay with their pet as they are put down. It was during a visit to see her mother in Maryland just last week that sent her curiosity to the rescue's website to check out dogs up for adoption, and then she spotted Beau's picture. The puppy was bigger but had the same markings and bore the name the rescue had given him before she adopted him, Amos Hart, based on a character in the musical Chicago. Calls to the shelter confirmed that her dog had not been euthanized after veterinarians there didn't think he needed to be. The rescue shelter instead called Lost the shelter instead called Lost Dog and Cat Rescue and turned the puppy back over to them. The rescue confirmed that Friday in a written statement, giving an extensive timeline showing that its veterinarians found no neurological issues with the dog. After tests diagnosing a liver problem and $7,000 surgery paid for through a GoFundMe campaign, the dog was declared healthy. None of it was shared with Perea, who said Friday she would pay back the $7,000 cost to get Beau. It took several days for anyone at the rescue to return her calls, she said, and when they did, it was not anyone she had spoken to before. Quote, that person that called me was so rude and just disrespectful and just being really nasty towards me, she said, breaking down in tears. Just saying, that I abandoned him and that I left him to die, that I never cared about him. Peru was told that the dog will never go back to you, the person said, and hung up. A rescue spokesperson, Chloe Floyd, would not answer questions about whether someone at the rescue said those things to Perea, but she defended the decision not to return the dog. Quote, LDCRF does not rehome an owner-surrendered dog with its former adopter owner, Floyd said in her written statement. Our mission is to save adoptable and safe to the community dogs from euthanasia. The rescue acknowledged that it had spoken to Perea during her deliberation about whether to euthanize the puppy, but it said it had made clear to her the importance of taking the dog to a veterinarian that would allow her to be with the animal when it was euthanized. If she could not do that, it emphasized the rescue would take the dog back. The rescue and the shelter both faulted Perea for not consenting to the extensive testing to see if it was suffering neurological issues. Carolyn Harefield, an executive director of Montgomery County Animal Services, said that it is bound by contract to return surrendered animals back to the rescue and that its hands are tied. Harefield said of Perea that everyone feels for her, but that it's up to the rescue on whether or not the dog will return to her. Quote, that's a civil issue between the two of them. We haven't had the animal in our care for a year. The dog remained available for adoption Friday on the rescue's website. That's the end of the article from the Associated Press. Now, I haven't checked the website to see myself if the dog is available for adoption, but I did go ahead to their website and see their statement on this. And I'll be honest with you, I personally feel like they should allow her to pay the $7,000 dog back, but I do understand that the policy is the policy, and that's just how it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for everyone. But their statement is the titled LDCRF rescues an owner-surrendered dog confronted with euthanasia in Falls Church, Virginia. It says, recently, the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation was asked by worldwide media outlets to comment on a particular owner-surrender case in Maryland involving a beloved alumnus dog, Amos Hart. Reporters are sometimes unable or unwilling to convey all the information due to time constraints or their editorial storyline. The reporting we have seen on Amos's journey is no exception. We encourage all friends, family, and those following the story generally to read the full, unabbreviated statement we provide below to news organizations. Okay. So they say that LDCRF does not rehome pets with previous owners who surrendered them for euthanasia. That is terribly at odds with our core mission to save adoptable pets from euthanasia. With all due respect, the rescue assumes previous owners have exhausted all options and considerations before making the difficult but permanent decision to relinquish their rights and surrender their pets. We cannot speak to the former owner's decision to select a municipal shelter, as she was advised by us against choosing a place that would not allow her to be present. Lastly, we reject the false claim that our rescue has ever faulted the former owner for not pursuing extensive testing. We would not and do not judge others so cavalierly. Pet medical decisions are emotionally charged and involve delicate financial deliberations for which we have only empathy and understanding. And as shown by this case, not all forecasted medical outcomes can be predicted with certainty. Our organization has been in the rescue business for 20 plus years and has created sound policy based on responsible adoption placements. We have saved over 45,000 lives and continue to focus on thousands of pets and dying in shelters daily who are in need of immediate care and rescue. From our statement, we would like to highlight the following. Quote, in March 2023, the former adopter reported to us that two vets said Amos had a neurological condition that would impact his quality of life, and she was considering humane euthanasia. If that came to be, we advised her to be with Amos through his euthanasia. We shared with her how important we believe it is to be with your pet for their peaceful passage, and if she understandably could not be, then the rescue would take Amos back. We did not hear any more from her about Amos. LDCRF was not knowledgeable nor informed about the former adopter's independent decision to euthanize Amos Hart, nor her selection of a county shelter to do so after surrendering him. The additional details in our original statement below describe all measures LDCRF took to save Amos's life. It was provided on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, so about a week ago. It says, good afternoon. Thank you for allowing us to respond. LDCRF can only speak to the timeline in which Amos Hart has been in our direct care and to our own interactions with the former adopter. We cannot speak to the interactions or agreements made between the former adopter and other shelters or vets. And although we are thankful for it, we cannot speak to the Montgomery County Animal Shelter's decision not to euthanize Amos Hart, as requested by its former owner. As a matter of internal policy and based upon years of experience with humane rescue, LDCRF does not rehome an owner-surrendered dog with its former adopter owner. Our mission is to save adoptable and save the community dogs from euthanasia. Amos was in our care, foster care, from the time of his birth until his adoption in December 2022. In March 2023, the former adopter reported to us that two vets said Amos had a neurological condition that would impact his quality of life, and she was considering humane euthanasia. If that came to be, we advised her to be with Amos through his euthanasia. We shared with her how important we believe it is to be with your pet for their peaceful passage, and if she understandably could not be, then the rescue would take Amos back. We did not hear any more from her about Amos. Excuse me. However, on April 12, 2023, we received an unsolicited email from MCAS stating that Amos had been surrendered to them by his former owner for euthanasia. On April 18, 2023, we followed our protocol and picked up Amos from MCAS as LDCRF gladly welcomes back their alumni when the owner surrendered them back. Since being back in our care, Amos has undergone extensive medical evaluation and treatment at great expense. He was neutered at the end of April 2023. The vets diagnosed Amos with a liver shunt, but needed an MRI to determine if surgery was an option. He was later confirmed through ultrasound and CT to have a liver shunt. A less invasive surgery was performed in September of 2023. A second surgery was required in December of 2023. Since then, Amos is doing great and has cleared all his follow-up appointments. We are pleased that because of the generous intervention and financial support of our members, Amos is healthy and has been placed for adoption through LDCRF as of April 2024. LDCRF was not knowledgeable nor informed about the former adopter's independent decision to euthanize Amos Hart, nor her selection of a county shelter to do so after surrendering him. County shelters, by policy, do not allow owners to remain with their pets throughout euthanasia. This can also be seen on the MCAS website. At the time we picked up Amos from the shelter, MCAS told us that he was surrendered as an owner-requested euthanasia. They also told us his owner took him to an ER for neurological issues, but did not pursue diagnostics. MCAS stated that they did not witness any neurological signs while in their care. From March 26, 2023 to April 18, 2023, the day MCAS contacted LDCRF. MCAS has advised LDCRF that any time an owner surrenders for euthanasia, the shelter reserves the right to evaluate and decide whether or not to euthanize and may elect to treat the pet. In this case, they elected not to euthanize. We took Amos back and have treated him as an LDCRF alumni in need of treatment and rehoming. We are passionate about saving lives, especially those under threat of euthanasia. The timeline is as follows. 12/10/22, Amos Hart was adopted from LDCRF. 3/16/23, LDCRF receives an update on Amos's failing health, a neurological condition that would impact his quality of life. A doctor said it was confirmed by 2 vets and that she was considering euthanasia. A doctor wanted to know if it was okay to proceed with humane euthanasia. LDCRF offered to take the puppy back. 4/12/23. We received an unsolicited email from Montgomery County Animal Shelter or Animal Services stating that Amos Hart was surrendered to them for euthanasia. 4/18/23. LDCRF picked up Amos from MCAS. MCAS says the owner had taken the puppy to the ER for neurological issues but did not perform diagnostics. MCAS stated they did not witness any neurological signs while in their care. Amos had a hepatic insufficiency and required a special diet and medication, Enulose. Now under LDCRF care, 4/5/23, Amos went to Blue Ridge Veterinary Associates for neuter surgery. The vet told the rescue that the puppy had a possible liver shunt. They advised that the window for performing a surgical repair was closing, but that he would need an MRI to evaluate if surgery was an option. The rescue proceeded with neuter surgery that day. 5/9/23. Amos was brought to BRVA for bile acid testing with a high suspicion of liver shunt. He was placed on Science Diet liver food. He was continuing on his Enulose medication. BRVA prescribed Cobeliquin. 7/8/23. Amos went to South Paws for an ultrasound and CT scan to confirm the liver shunt. The liver shunt was confirmed. 8/22/23. Amos went to the Veterinary Referral Associates, VRA, for a liver shunt surgery consultation. An LDCRF volunteer starts a peer-to-peer GoFundMe to help pay for the surgery, and it raised $4,210. 9/20/2023. Amos went into VRA for surgery on 9/20/23. Cost was $6,992.38 with rescue discount. LDCRF volunteer pays for difference in funds raised and funds due to VRA. December 2023. Amos went back to VRA to replace a few coils from the initial surgery. April 2024. Amos is doing great and has cleared all follow-ups with VRA and BVRA, blood work and checks, placed up for adoption on 4/5/24. And that's the end of their statement. So it seems like they did everything that they could to take care of that dog, and seems like she also did everything that she could, or thought she did everything that she could. So I don't think that anyone's really in the wrong here personally, but I'm curious as to what your thoughts are. Go ahead and leave them in the comments. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you later. Bye.